All right. So today is another day to do. My boy, he loves the cold cans. He loves the cold cans. Taste that cold can. So refreshed. Oh, so refreshed. Oh, you sneezed on my drink. I guess I'll open it now. Oh, I'm telling you, boy. Boy. My boy. No, you can't have it. Can't have it. Can't have. You can't have it. Mine, 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 mine. I love you. I love you. It's okay. It's okay, but that's my drink. Anyway, so today is a ghost story day because I've got nothing going on for a little while anyway, because it'll be a spell yet until I take him back to the park to go and goof on other dogs. Oh boy. But, yeah, good boy. And it's not like I'm like lacking in a ton of ghost stories to tell from stuff that I've done. So, oh my dear boy, I know you wished you could have had that drink so bad, so bad. So, let's see. I guess what I'll do is I'll tell a combo story about depending. If this takes too long, I may pass on the combo and just do one of them. Uh, and I'll tell the story of the first time, one of the first times that my friends and I decided to try to go ghost hunting. This was back in high school. This was my senior year. I think it was my senior year. It's either that or like junior year, and I was at like a house party or something, like hanging out, sitting around. Admittedly, between the time when I was like graduating, or rather, from the time where I was a freshman to graduating, the parties really chilled out. Like the people I was hanging out with in freshman year of high school were like, I guess by the like standard of like how you would picture like high schoolers in movies, they were like really cool because they were constantly having these like fucking amazing ragers where like all these people would be and it was like a movie and like everyone's like super like fun and like cool and whatnot. I didn't drink, but like everyone was nice. Like it was great times. Like lots of memories. Everyone was just like super like badass and like neat, and they all like I don't know. It was just good people. By the time that I was graduating, however, it was like super duper like chilled out. Like people were like all right. Nothing like it wasn't like they were super great parties or anything like that, which is probably exactly the reason why. Okay, good. Which is probably exactly the reason why what ended up happening happened. I gotta remember to stop looking at the TV and start looking down there. Start looking down there at the camera. Anyway, so I'm hanging out at this house party, kind of just waiting for an opportune time to eventually like leave. Is kind of dull. Um, and I'm there with my friend Brandon, who I lived with, as you know, from the Dead Lady Bed story, and who was in that whole like hospital fiasco, um, and uh, the like as we're sitting around, we start talking about like ghost stories, and just like I'm telling him like stories that I'd heard about like Ventura and the surrounding area and stuff like that, and like eventually he calls up our mutual friend Josh, and I'm pretty sure that I'm certain that Brandon and Josh had both graduated by this point, but they're still hanging around me because like um, I met both of them like my freshman year, and I think both of them were either juniors or like yeah, I think they were juniors. So they're basically like out like halfway through like my time in high school, and so like we still hung out as a group after they graduated. Like I ended up doing a thing where like I was in a play, no, I helped direct a play at the college with Brandon when he was in the theater department there, and as a result, I ended up getting all this like credit, which meant that I didn't have to take like two classes at the high school, which means that from basically like noon to the end of the day, I didn't have class for like the last I guess the last year of high school. So I was literally just like lunch would happen, I'd be all like I'm off work, and then I'd just go and hang out at the theater, or I'd go and hang out in like the English classes, or like I do like freelance TA work and be all like, hey, I guess I'll grade your papers. I got nothing going on. Nobody can stop me. I'm technically going here. I'm not graduated yet. I can't leave. So, let's see. Hold on. I can't leave. I can't do anything. I'll just bum around, hang out with my friends, and, offer minimal assistance to, like, staff members that I like. Um, but so, but so anyway, my friends were older and they had like a car and stuff because I definitely did not. Hell no, I did not have a car at the time. At the time, I thought that the idea of driving was like horrific because you're like behind like 4 tons of like hurtling death. Like anything could kill you. Like just imagine. Ugh. My boy. Anyway, so I'm talking to Brandon about ghost stories and stuff like that, and all the places I know around the Ventura area that are supposed to be haunted or have like something interesting like going on in them. Now, Josh eventually comes by and he's just like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And we're just like, we're talking about ghosts, like, and going ghost hunting and whatnot. And he's just like, "Well," he's like, "Do you want to pile in the truck and like go and see if we can find these places? It's better than like hanging out here where everyone's kind of looking at each other awkwardly and like, there's." Like, I don't think there was any alcohol. Like, no, there was no, like, parents or family members, but there was also no alcohol for, like, any of the, like, people that were there that would regularly drink to, like, actually do anything. And so we're just like, oh, yeah, fuck yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go out, let's go and find, like, a place. Like, where can we go? And I remembered that, like, there was... This one was funny just because it's like I never believed this, but it's like a funny story, so it's kind of like it was worth it as like just a reason to go someplace. And so in this case, it was he was called like the Billowhack Beast. That's right. Its name was the Billowhack Beast, and it's supposed to be some sort of large bipedal goat monster that like lived up in the hills out at this like old like ranch or something like up over like Ventura, and there was all these like stories of people like going out and driving up in the hills and then like turning a corner and there just being like a fucking goat mothman like hanging out on the side of the road like hunched over and like crawling around. It's supposed to be like some genetic experiment from the 50s or something, and of course it's all like horseshit because like what government office is operating like goat genetic mutation like research like in Ventura, California, and then it's just like fuck, I made a goat man and now he's like loose. Fucking what am I gonna do with this goddamn goat man? And there's like it's so stupid. Like maybe it's supposed to, like who knows? Like okay, let's say that it was real. Let's say that there was a goat hybrid monster like roaming around like above Ventura. Maybe the entire idea is actually based in like some sort of like elemental. You always hear those stories coming from like the British Isles and other places where you'll have like some sort of beastly like spirit thing that like has like a human head and is like a sheep, and stuff like that. So who knows? Maybe the Billowback Beast was actually an elemental that was, like residing somewhere out in the hills. But at the time, we were just like, hey, we need to go someplace. Like, this billowback beast is supposed to be like a thing out in the hills, and like we need to find someplace to go that doesn't have people around and is like functionally abandoned. So we drive out in the hills and the hinterlands of Ventura, and come to think of it, I have no idea where we ended up. Like after, once I had a car, I was going all over the place in Ventura. I've been all over that town. Like I've been like way out into Santa Paula and up into Ohio, around all the like various hills, dales, valleys, and nonsense, all the like ranches and shit like that. I can't for the life of me think of where we ended up. But it was somewhere. We ended up somewhere. Anyway. I hear you chewing on something back there. What are you chewing? You're just chewing on a little doorknob? Jojo, what's this? What's this? Oh. Oh. I feel bad. I start telling a story and Jojo immediately just like, it's like, no. I gotta have an existential crisis. I want to be doing something right now rather than doing the sleeping, which I do like 70% of the time, the rest of the afternoon. Anyway, so we drive out into the hills, out past all these orchards and ranches. And we eventually come to just a gate, just out in the middle of nowhere. It's just like a cattle gate. And we decide that like we think that this is the correct spot. Like I can't remember what it was, but like I think in one of my like books about the area, it gives like mentions like street names and whatnot, and so we find this country road that has like a specific name and seems to be like on a map that we have, because this is back for smartphones, so it's just like we had like maps and we're just like, okay, this looks like the right area, and so we end up like out in the middle of this like country road with like a ranch, and there's a gate, and so we skulk under the gate like you do, or no, we went underneath. We went underneath the gate, because this factors in later about getting back like out again. We go underneath the gate, and we basically make our way up this like dirt road. And at the time, Josh was like really, really into paintball, like way into paintball. And for some reason, Josh decided that the best thing that he could do for this excursion was to take his paintball rifle with him. So there's Josh carrying around this paintball gun, reasons unknown, because like literally me and Brandon we're like, if you see anything, what good is a paintball gun going to do? You're going to paint it, and then it's going to be like irritated. Like even actual animals will just be irritated. Like he's like, all I know is that I'd feel a lot safer having my paintball gun on me. So we're just like, fine. So we get underneath the fence, skulk like down this like path, like up and over like a field, like, and there's a ranch house like way down, like basically like down this hill, like there's a riverbed, and then like up on the other side is this like ranch house. And so we keep heading along like this trail until we get to this like great big sign that says that like this is like part of like Chevron. Like the Chevron company owns the land to like run oil derricks or something, or like store oil like out in the middle of nowhere. Chevron famous in the 50s for their goat man experiments. But we've been out there for like 40 odd minutes. It was, we hadn't seen anything. Jojo, what are you doing? What are you doing? I don't know what he's doing. Anyway. So, actually, where is... Oh, there we go. There you go. But so it says that, you know, like, we'd been out there for a while, and we decided that we were, like, going to turn back, when all of a sudden, Josh, like, we got, like, these, like, flashlights out, and as we're walking, all of a sudden, like, in front of us, we see movement. Not movement, but just, like, something move. Josh whips around with his gun, light shining down, and he identifies a frog. He literally says, "Frog!" and then, like, unloads on the goddamn frog. He, like, dead eyes, like, 360 no scope, like, headshots this poor frog, and annihilates it. And, like, me and Brandon immediately freak out. We're like, Josh, what the fuck did you do? He's just like, I don't know, something leapt out. We're just like, not something, you said frog. You said frog, and then you killed it. You literally said frog, and then opened fire. Agatha hates that. I don't blame her. Like, what the fuck, Josh? So, like... Brandon and I walk over to where this poor deceased frog is, and we're just like, and I'm just like, we're both looking, and we're just like, we're so sorry, little frog, like, our friend is a monster and an idiot, like, we're sorry that you died, like, this, we didn't mean anything by this, like, at least we didn't. If you want to do anything horrible, do it to Josh, because he is a bad, bad person who doesn't like anything, and was able to identify you as a frog, and then murder you in cold blood. So then I was just like, I'm like, let's at least put him back into the river where he can rest in peace as he lived, soaking wet and, you know, living amongst algae. So we scoop him up, and Brandon's just like, he's like, go, friend, and he, like, heaves the, like, frog out. I don't know. I feel bad for this frog. Real bad luck frog. It flew out and landed smack, like, flat on the only rock in the entire stream, and was just, like, on its back there, like, covered in orange paint, dead, like, just splayed out on the rock. So that was very unfortunate for that frog. He never got to rest in peace. I may still be haunted by that frog, and that would explain, you know, all sorts of things. He's chewing on a bunch of rope that I brought back from the beach. It's probably salty. Anyway, so we turn and start walking back. As we approach the field, where we have to, like, cross over it to get to the trail that leads to the gate and leads back to the car, we realize that somewhere on the way back, we must have crossed over onto a different trail than we'd been taking to get out. And so, as we approach this field, the trail splits into 3 different directions. There's a low path, a middle path, and a high path. Now, at the same time, the lights on the ranch kick on, and there are now dogs barking. And then you hear a man shouting something incoherently in the distance, and you see that he has a gun. A big old, like, just a shotgun, so it's not like we're at any immediate risk, but the dogs are definitely barking, and he's, like, shouting something menacing. And so we take cover. Josh decides to take the lowest path. Brandon takes the middle path, and then I take the high path. And we basically just, like, crawl as, like, best we can, like, along this, like, dirt trail, like, each one of us through the grass, and, like, make our way hidden, like, on the ground. Because the thing is that, like, if he's releasing dogs, we've only got so long before the dogs get to us, and he's got a rifle, so it's only so long before we get buckshotted. On the assumption that, you know, we're stealing, like, crude oil from his dirt farm. He's out there on his fucking porch, all like, "Oh, it's those goddamn Exxon boys, gonna kill him. Coming out to my Chevron ranch and stealing all my precious crude." But so we like scoot our way back like along the trail, trying to get back. And I vaguely hear Josh and Brandon, like, Josh apparently says he's like, "I found the gate. I got to the gate." Brandon's like, "I don't know where you're at." Oh, hold on. Brandon's like kind of just like, he's further back. He's larger. It takes him longer to get like further, and so he's further back. And he like scoots down towards where Josh is at. I'm like way up in like a bunch of bushes next to barbed wire, and I can't figure out like where the heck they are. Um, um, and so I turn and like realize that there's only one way. Like I can't just go back and go and try to like redo the trails. Um, so I just turn and proceed to like pull my jacket like kind of up over my head and roll down like the hill, like just on my side, to get as close to them as possible, like through the brush. And the thing is that it's like a bunch of fucking brambles and like tangles of barbed wire. So it's like, I'm trying to like cover myself up as best I can and like rolling down this fucking hill. And eventually, like, I just slam into the dirt path where the gate is, and I'm just like, perfect. And I'm just like, okay, guys, we gotta get out of here. So we like move towards the gate. Josh like tactical slides underneath the gate, and like he's like, okay, now pass me my gun. And like I slide him the paintball gun, and he proceeds to leave. He just goes straight back to his car, and I'm just like, Josh, where the hell are you going? He's just like, I've got to go scope out my car. I got to go make sure that there's no one coming. And I'm just like, we have to leave first. We're on the wrong side of the fence. And so Brandon obviously should be the next person to go because he's bigger, he's got a harder time to get underneath the fence, and he gets stuck. So I'm there trying to like dig around like where he's at, trying to make him like, make the groove that he's going to go out from under like deeper, and it's like fucking Winnie the Pooh. And finally he slides out, then I go under, and then we run back to the truck, and we run back to the truck, and the concern is that like we're out in the middle of nowhere, like we're concerned about like them dispatching like a squad car to come and like basically arrest all of us for trespassing, which they're legally allowed to do, but come on, we weren't setting off firecrackers, we weren't like out in the woods shooting up and like I don't know, like doing horrible things to really just killing that rope, aren't you? It's a good thing there's like yards and yards of it. Anyway, so we pile back in the truck, me and Brandon. And as we're sitting there, we're figuring that we'll be like taking off any time now. Except where's Josh? Josh is not in the truck. Josh is not starting his truck to get us the fuck out of this situation. Josh is actually in the back. Very carefully and very delicately disassembling and putting away his gun into a nice foam padlock. We're like, Josh, you were in a big hurry to get back to the truck. He's like, yeah, now the truck's here and there's no one around, so I've got, this is a delicate piece of equipment. I need to make sure it's secure and safe. And we're like, Josh, hurry the fuck up and get in the car. So he eventually finishes up and puts the case back in this boot on the back of behind his the cab, because technically it's a 2-person truck, 3 seat belts, so there's space in the middle for me, but it was a tight fit. I think it was a Japanese pickup truck, so it was very small. And Josh starts up the car and starts heading down the country road back towards civilization to get us just away from the area in case anyone's coming. Except Josh is an idiot, and Josh doesn't turn on his headlights. We're like, Josh, what the hell are you doing? He's just like, I'm keeping the headlights off in case, anyone's coming. I don't want them to see us. And I'm just like, Josh, it's a 2-lane road. There's only coming and going. If anyone passes by, especially a cop car, they're going to probably think a pickup truck out in the middle of a country road isn't suspicious in and of itself, but a pickup truck without its headlights on, tear-assing down the road, might just be. He's like, maybe they think we're a ghost car. I'm just like, are you an idiot? So he flicks on the lights. We get down to the intersection, turn, head, back towards, Ventura proper. We end up coming up to, a Carl's Jr., or I guess, what is that, everywhere else in the country, a Hardee's. So we get out there, and so we get out to this Carl's Jr. We decide to stop and have dinner and just wait in one spot and kind of in case the heat's on, because Lord knows nothing's happening enough in Ventura for them not to immediately dispatch the entire police department to go hunt down a bunch of goofballs that were last seen raiding the Chevron Ranch. So as we're sitting there trying to enjoy our meal, Brandon comes back from the restroom and he looks very sheepish. He's like, we have a problem. I think we need to leave the Carl's Jr. I'm just like, what is it, Brandon? What's wrong? He's like, there was an accident. I'm just like, what do you mean by an accident? He's just like, just go in the bathroom. So I get up and head into the bathroom, and there's a geyser erupting out of the sink. Somehow, Brandon, I don't know, he touched the faucet and it exploded. And so now there's water just shooting straight up in the air, and we were basically oh no. So I go back over and I put the sink back together so it's not gushing water everywhere, and then I go back out. I'm like, okay, I fixed it. But how did you break? He's just like, I don't know. I was just turning it, but it wasn't responding, and all of a sudden the whole thing came off in my hand. And I'm like, okay, we've got our food. Let's just pack up and leave. And this will be a problem for whoever goes in the bathroom next. And then they'll be the ones to be all like, I'm sorry, I obliterated your bathroom. Oh, that's a shame. And so we pack up and flee, because that's what we're good at. But so yes, that was the first time that we ever went out ghost hunting. My boy, Jojo. What was that? What was that? What was that? You don't know. Okay, what about this? Oh. There we go. But so yeah, that was the first time we ever went ghost hunting. The subsequent time, the next time we went, actually ended up being a lot more interesting overall. That time, which actually maybe I'll save that time for a future. As I'm saying that, Jojo just turns and looks at me. He's just like, he just looked really put out by it. Maybe I'll save that for next time. I'm trying to think if there's any other ghost stories that just come up off the top of my head that are Well, actually, here's an interesting story. Come to think of it, I'm a dumb boy. Stop trying to get back there. Um, okay, so Ventura is not like a big town. It's not like a super duper important town. Um, what's got you so restless? You were sleeping when everything was quiet, but the minute I start speaking, you get up and start roaming around. It's because I keep the house too quiet all the time? Is that it? That's not my fault, my dude. Anyway, so Ventura's not like a super big town, like a super important town. Uh, I think it kind of like it hit its stride and like developed the most like after like Southern California became like the de facto place to like grow citrus and like produce and stuff like that. Um, no, you don't. The but so Ventura like kind of like hit its stride like kind of around like the turn of the century, so like 1900 or so. But anyway, so back in the day, Ventura was effectively just like one street with like a few buildings on it. Like, for example, a great way to think of it is the fact that uh, two of like the main streets of Ventura are very specifically named. So, for example, there's Telegraph Road. Telegraph Road runs basically from like one far side of the city all the way to the other side of the city, and the reason it's named Telegraph is because that is the literal path the original telegraph lines took. Telephone Road is like down from it, which I used to live on, and Telephone Road is the same. It's where the telephone like cables were like originally run. And then my only guess, I got my eye on you, Jojo. Uh, my only guess is that the other big road that like basically connects the north south of the city is Victoria, and I can only assume that Victoria probably originated in like 1899 or 1900 or whenever like Victoria's Jubilee was, to basically be all like, hey, we here in Ventura care about the British Empire too. Um, just a second. Just a moment. My boy. My dear boy. Oh, yeah. Oh, my sweet boy. Oh, my good JoJo boy. Oh, my little baby dog. What the? No, you don't. No, you don't. Oh. So you'll stop fustigating everything I'm trying to, like... I can't keep a constant, like, panopticon, like, surveillance on this little boy. Anyway. So, towards Old Ventura, like, away from where I live, there was this one spot called, there was a park. So basically it's like, Ventura's kind of like... Moving away from the coast, you go uphill, very gradually, very slowly. But over the main, like, downtown area, which was, like, originally all Ventura was just this little downtown spot. There was, overlooking it, a cemetery, like, built up high. This whole cemetery for the early, like, residents of the city. And for me, growing up, it was called Cemetery Park because it was a park. And when you go there, there would be like gravestones, like flat ones that were still there, like laying out. And apparently they did not exhume all of the bodies. There was still a great many of them there. But the reason that it was no longer a proper cemetery was because I guess like way back in the day, there was flooding in Ventura. And heavy rainfalls led to this flooding, which caused the ground there to turn super duper soggy and like bad. And then a flash flood came through and basically exhumed all of these like corpses and then deposited them all down on the main thoroughfare. And so after that happened, they were just like, okay, maybe we need to like not have the cemetery like there over Main Street in this like area that can like flood and then basically like rain dead people down on the main city. And so they turn it into a park, and there's still bodies there to this day. And there's of course a ghost story about the about that spot, something along the lines of just like a man and a woman, unidentified, like who start on opposite ends of the park and then like cross over it at one another and then meet in the middle and then disappear. And you're supposed to like take roses or something there to like. Is probably nothing. Directly above the park is a cool place, the Bard Hospital. Bard Hospital was like Ventura's first mental clinic. It's this like little place, and it's supposed to be just like fucked up. Like, and there's some weird stuff I'll talk about some other time with that. Down the way into the actual like old like Ventura like main area where the mission was and stuff like that back when like, you know, I don't know, I mean the mission's always been there. Before there was a town, there was a mission, because that's where Ventura gets its name. You know, the San Buenaventura mission. Honeybee, Thai iced tea. Yeah, wow, that looks like really terrible from here. But that's supposed to be the drink. Down there is the City Hall. City Hall used to actually be the courthouse and had a jail on top. And fun fact, the guy that designed our City Hall and made it, as well as a kind of a Mesoamerican style, like kind of Aztec temple, like church, and one other building I can't remember, like, or I don't know like what it is in town. But anyway, the guy that made all of those was the guy that made Grauman's Chinese Theater. And the story goes that he had basically fallen in love with the mayor's daughter, and in deciding to marry her was just like, he's like, tell you what, Ventura, I'm going to do you guys a large and basically design your courthouse and like a church and like another building there as, you know, like a wedding gift for me, like marrying the mayor's daughter. And so he did that. So for example, like the courthouse City Hall, its stairwell, like its staircase, is like, I think like one of the largest, or if not the largest, like single piece of marble stairway like in the world. Like it's this huge like solid piece of marble stairway like leading up and around like up to the second floor, and it comes from the quarry where like Michelangelo's David comes from, and you know, shit like that. So clearly, if the story is true, the architect for Grauman's must have really, really liked the mayor's daughter. So, but yeah, and then there's like a house that's like now a real estate like company or something like that. That's like supposed to be haunted by a Civil War like general or like major or someone, not like a significant like Civil War historical figure, but like someone who retired to Ventura, and like the story goes that he that whoever the Civil War general was, they're a Union officer. The house that they're in is a real estate company now and reports, you know, minor hauntings, but that in the years where the office was operated by the, like, I guess the like local Democrats and the local Republicans have both had like campaign headquarters there. And I guess when it was like the Democrats, like the hauntings were extremely bad, but when the Republicans were there, like nothing seemed to happen. As some sort of like, I think the story goes that it's like, you know, obviously as a Union man, he's just like, oh, the party of Lincoln. And he didn't catch, you know, what happened in the 50s and 60s with the Democratic Party. Whatever. Anyway, so that is that's them's the stories this time. That's like that's what immediately occurs to me. And plus, it's been 40 minutes. I feel like that's a good soft or hard cap for like the time frame for these things. So primo, mucho better or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, give you more ghost stories and local history and local stories nonsense some other time. Signing off from here in northern Japan. Ciao. Ciao. Anyway, yeah.